The whole enchilada, a community of high achievers that fight the status quo, rebel against mediocrity, and make life happen. Let's go. Hello, Enchilada Nation. Really excited about the conversation today. As you know, I love to share things with you that are having an impact on me in any given moment. And it is such an exciting time for us to be thinking about how to win and progress in such a fast-paced world. Information is coming at us at such a fast pace, but I don't know about you, but every time I feel like I'm finally gaining traction with a new strategy, a new idea, it seems like information has changed significantly since I made that decision on applying that. It's this interesting spot of I'm finally gaining traction with this decision and moving things forward. And I've got this new information available to me. Do I stay true to what I'm doing and moving it forward because I'm getting traction, or do I get excited about this new idea? And there is a balance in there. If you are enjoying this conversation, please, who do you know that you can share this episode with today that will find value in it and would also like to join us on our journey to become the best version of ourselves? And don't forget, please like and subscribe because this helps me get in front of more people just like you to continue to grow our network in our Enchilada Nation. Thanks again. Let's get back to the episode. Earlier this week, we have a family group chat, and one of my daughters posted a video and said, "Dad, this reminds me a lot of you." And I was actually really, really impressed with the message and just humbled at the same time that my daughter associated me with this message, which again is flattering when your kids look at you that way, because in a lot of ways, I think sometimes my kids and other people look at me like I'm a crazy person because I'm moving so fast, trying so many new things. But this message really hit home, and I think is so applicable to our community right now. So I'm really excited about sharing it with you today. Ultimately, it says this: the distance between deciding and doing is the single largest predictor of whether your life will be extraordinary or ordinary. I'm going to read that one more time because I think it's so powerful. The distance between deciding and doing is the single largest predictor of whether your life will be extraordinary or ordinary. I think if I would have asked you, what is the single largest predictor of your success or a person's success, I think people like to put on there, how many degrees do they have? From what school do they have a degree? Where did they grow up? What profession are they in? They would have listed a lot of things, and none of those things were listed in this one sentence. And by the way, I've got the whole transcript here available that I'll send out on other platforms, but I'm going to read a couple of the bullet point items that just really hit home to me, this being one of them. So if you want an extraordinary life, and I know that you do because you're part of our community, this is what the whole enchilada is about. How do you live an extraordinary life across every platform? Business, relationship, spirituality, adventure, all of those things. You want to live an extraordinary life. Well, this is telling us the distance between deciding and doing is the single biggest predictor of whether you will live an extraordinary life or not. So what does that mean exactly? In a world of so much information, I think a lot of us get caught in decision paralysis. A lot of us know the things that need to be done, and we get caught up in, well, I need to research it more. Well, I need to see what, not only now, it's not only what AI has to say, but it's, well, let's see if Perplexity gives me a different answer than Claude. And there might be a little conflict. So I go down this rabbit hole, which can be fun and exciting to do. But if you're not purposely doing that with the intent of making a decision and getting emotion, then you're caught in this paralysis moment of never making a decision. And in the time frame that you took to decide, the time frame it took you to fully research it out, somebody else had already made a decision and moved forward. Now, maybe their decision wasn't perfect on day one. Maybe they could have done more research. But the fact that they made a decision and got onto the field, they instantly got feedback of whether the decision was right or wrong, where you're still in a mode of, I'm doing research and I still don't have any feedback to tell me if I've made the right decision or not. But what you don't see is the person that took action, got onto the field, they didn't have to stay married to that decision. They put some effort into it and got instant feedback on whether the decision was right or wrong. Now, more often than not, it's not that the decision was 100% wrong and you have to do a complete 180 and go a completely different direction. It's really about minor changes to the decision. A lot of times we get so caught up researching a little minute details of differences in decision that could be a difference of 2 or 3 degrees from the destination, when in reality, we don't have to have all of that worked out perfectly before we get in the game, before we get in motion. A special forces friend of mine once said to me, the only wrong action is inaction. And a lot of times we think we justify that we are in action, sitting in the comfort of our home doing research. And that is making effort toward a solution, but it's not the same as being in motion. It's not the same as actually getting in the game and moving forward and getting real feedback. So another one-liner said here, it says, the distance between deciding and doing is the most reliable predictor of whether your life will be extraordinary, ordinary talent, not circumstance, not even the quality of your decisions. That was interesting to me. Not even the quality of your decisions, but how quickly you collapse the space between intention and reality. I love that part right there. How quickly you collapse the space between intention and reality. I intended to make more money last year. I intended to spend more time with my family. I intended to spend more time studying and reading the scriptures or whatever it is. We all have a list of things we intended to do. Our intentions were good. And we use that to justify this idea of like, well, my intentions were good, so I should get some bonus for that. I should get some credit for my intentions being good. But me intending and wanting it is different than it actually being my reality. We get rewarded not for our intentions, but for our reality of what we actually create by doing. Now, it starts with good intentions. We have to make decisions with good intentions, but we can't just say that we intended to do it and got caught up on other things, because it still has to be done. We still have to decide to do something. Another one-liner from this transcript that I really loved. You're not just accomplishing more, you're operating in a fundamentally different mode of being, where your thoughts have immediate consequences on the world, where your inner life and your outer life are in consistent, tight conversation, where your inner life and your outer life are in constant, tight conversation. How in alignment is your inner life to your outer life? What you want on the outside, how close is it to what you want and feel on the inside? There's been times in my life where I feel like people are giving me accolades for success, when inside I don't feel like I deserve those. But as I get in motion, stay in motion, and my actions are more in alignment with my intentions, that's when that difference between my inner self and my outer self is tightening and becoming closer to the same. Now, they'll never be perfectly in alignment, because I still have to think things through. I still have to be in that cerebral processing mode before I can take action, but I can't stay there. I can't stay in that cerebral thought mode, particularly in a world where it encourages us to spend more time in thought mode and less time in do mode. It says here, this matters profoundly because success isn't really about outcomes. Wow. I had to sit on that one for a minute. We measure success and outcomes. How much money did you make? How many appointments did you go on? How big of a house do you live in? All of these things, the world wants to measure your success by outcomes. So I had to sit on that for a minute, but let's finish the sentence and see what they say here. This matters profoundly because success isn't really about outcomes. It's about iteration speed. The person who can decide and act in the same breath gets 10 attempts at something, while someone with a week-long gap between decision and execution gets one. Now, this is where I had to sit on that for a minute, because it still is about the outcome. The outcome still matters. The measurability of success still matters if it's tied to who you are and what you're about. But what it's saying is it's not about focusing on the outcome. What it is it's getting so clear on the decision and acting. And this is a great point, that the person who can decide and act in the same breath, meaning that they thought about it, they quickly went through the decision-making cycle, and then they got into motion, could have 10 attempts at something, while someone with a week-long gap between decision and execution gets one chance at it. And this is something I tell people on a regular basis. When people hire me to come speak or hire me to coach them, a lot of times they're thinking that my history, my track record is just a track record of success. Now, I've been proud of some of the things that I've been able to accomplish, but if you looked at it, I feel like I failed more than any other person as well, because I've tried a lot of things. And I don't mean try a lot of things like, for a while, I'm going to try to be an insurance salesman. And then for a while, I'm going to try to be a title agent salesperson. And then I'm going to go try to be an engineer. I don't mean like being flip-floppy by that. What I mean by that is I have a goal of what to accomplish. I have a life that I am trying to design that's important to me and my family. And there's thousands of strategies I can take to try to accomplish that. I'm going to narrow that down to the strategies that I think are the best. And then the way I determine which of those strategies are the right combination of strategies and efforts is I need to start doing things about it. The more I think about it, the farther away I'm actually getting. It's not a matter of me being stagnant and not moving toward it. I'm actually floating away from my goal by not being in motion. I have got to do something. I've got to be paddling the boat forward. And so I can course correct 10 times on the path down towards my ideal self in the same time that someone overthinks the opportunity to move forward. The next thing it says here is they fail faster, but they learn faster. They course correct faster and compound their advantages faster. So a lot of times we just look at that as they fail faster. That fear of I might fail keeps me from doing anything, but we should embrace the failure of it, it's almost always when I apply something new or try something new, it's not that it was a complete failure. There's times that it is, and I have to make a big adjustment, but more often than not, it's not quite working as smoothly as I thought. It's not quite refined down the way I want, which means I can learn faster. I can learn why isn't that going the way I thought it was? Why is this piece of the machine not working the way I anticipated it was? I can course correct faster. Let me try a minor adjustment. Let me oil this bolt. Let me try this procedure. Or there's a little bit of friction between the time the customer says yes and the time we implement the strategy. I can start course correcting at a much faster pace because I'm in the game. And then I can compound their advantages faster. The things that are working, I can double down on, even if there is some friction along the way, because the momentum moving forward, even if it could be a little clunky at first, it's a matter of sharpening down that wheel and breaking off the blocks on it so it is a smoother process, but I'm already in motion, creating momentum moving forward. The next thing it says here is this. The ultimate insight is that shrinking the gap between decision and action isn't just correlated with success. It might be the most honest definition of success we have. I love that idea of a lot of times we're defining success by what has the person accomplished? How much money have they made? Where do they live? How many awards have they won? But if you look at somebody that is constantly in motion and able to decide very quickly and get into motion in the right direction, that person is a successful person. In fact, you could say for that person, everything could go away tomorrow. The world could change. The consumer could change. But because that person has the skill set of decision making and understanding how to make decisions and moving forward, that they will be back on the path of success much faster than anybody else. Even if you take away all history of success and start everybody from day one at the same point, they will succeed much faster. We see this on a little bit of a different scale in the world we live in. Right now, AI didn't exist to the public knowledge even a year ago, a year and a half ago. People really didn't know it or had some fear around it. The way the consumer thinks, the process that business is done is significantly different today than it was a year ago. The people that were successful before, but their businesses are declining, it's because they're refusing to adapt. They're refusing to stay in the game. They're holding on to how business was done instead of making a decision to move forward and learning the new game to own the market share. They had the advantage because they were already successful and had momentum, but they've given up their advantage by not being willing to change and adapt moving forward. Every moment between decision and action is a moment of self-portrayal. I loved this. Every moment between decision and action. So from the moment a decision needs to be made and actually taking action, every moment in there is a reflection of self-portrayal. That is where you see your true self. You've got the information to make the decision. In fact, you know what decision should be made, but are you going to do something about it is a reflection of who you truly are. You can be incredible at analyzing data and pulling scripts and all of those things to the point you know the best way to do it. But if you're not actually willing to do it, that is who you are. You are not a doer, which means if you're not shrinking the gap from thinking and doing, then you aren't successful. You won't achieve success at that level. And then it says here, every moment between decision and action is a moment of self-portrayal, a small death where a possible version of you fails to be born. Such a good line. A small death where a possible version of you fails to be born. That is the person that knows what to do, but chooses not to do it. And this also lives true to be on such a small scale. How many times still to this day, there's times that I, particularly if I know that I pull into my martial arts gym and I know that we're going to spar hard that night. And I know a lot of these killers in the gym have big fights coming up. So they're going to spar hard tonight. There's times I pull into the parking lot and my mind is like, do you really want to do this? You're an old man compared to these guys. Why are you doing this? It would be easy for me to drive away. It would be easy for me to put my car in reverse and pull out and no one would ever say anything. The guys in the gym, they know I'm traveling all the time. They would never be like, you chose not to come. But what I need to do is just step out of my car. If I step out of my car, or even before that, if I have my gear ready to go before my workday starts, I've already pre-made the decision. I'm in action. I'm going to go in. The minute I step on the mat, I feel better. I'm happy to be there. It's great exercise. It's good for my mind. It's good therapy for me. So it's actually taking the action, just create the action to move forward. Don't let a small death happen where a better version of you could actually be born. And this is happening on a day-to-day basis. They say these people, they've achieved something most people never do. They've synchronized their two selves, the one who knows and the one who acts, into a single undivided person moving through the world with uncommon force. There's two versions of you, the one that knows. The truth is, we all know what to do. You know inside what is the next action you need to take to move your life forward. The question is it a completely different person? So foreign to you to go from knowing to doing? What is it that you're fighting to go from knowing to doing? Is it you've really bought into this idea of I'm too busy. I need to get this done first before I can do that. Success is so close. You've just got to go from I know what to do to I'm going to do it. And if you haven't done it in a while, guess what? You're not going to be very good at it for a moment. But when you do it and you get up and try again, and you do it again, you're going to be a little bit better than last time. Then you're going to dust yourself off and you're going to do it again. You're going to learn something about your technique, the strategy, the conversation, the script, the habit, the knowledge you need. Might need to change some strategy, and then you do it again. And then you do it again. And then you do it again. And then after a while, it doesn't feel like you're doing it because it's part of who you are. New decisions will be put in front of you. You're prepared for new knowledge. This is a process of life. It's not a matter of you making a decision once and doing it once and you've made it. It's a matter of becoming something, becoming a version of you that learns and immediately gets into action and immediately gets the feedback and course corrects along the way. And then you become a doer. It's not that you did, it's that you are doing. You're now in the space of a doer. And to me, I would rather be surrounded by doers than someone that did or said they did. Or on the other side of that, someone that just thinks about it. Someone that's always talking about it. I wish I had done this. Or have you seen this new thing that came out? Like those are interesting conversations, but not if they don't move into doing, taking action. Because if you deserve the life that you want, which you do, nobody is going to make it happen for you but you. It's time to make the decision. It's time to get in motion. Go do what you know you need to do. And remember, go live life on your terms.